Texas makes a front yard feel like the safest place in the country. Cut grass, a porch light, sprinklers running at 6 in the evening, kids' bikes left on a driveway, still warm from the sun. But that feeling of safety depends entirely on what people never look at: the mulch bed against the wall. Texas holds more venomous species than any other state in America, and almost none of the dangerous encounters here happen deep in the wild. Today, we are counting down 15 of the most dangerous animals in Texas, ranked not only by what they can do, but by how close they have moved to ordinary life. We begin in mountains almost nobody visits. We end with the animal that is already standing a few steps from a front door. If you live in Texas, tell me which part you are watching from. And subscribe, because some of the animals near your town appear much higher on this list than you would expect. Some of you have already walked past one of them this week without knowing it. Number 15, the black bear. We start in the far corner of the state, where almost nobody lives. The mountains of West Texas, Big Bend, the Chisos, the Guadalupes. Black bears were wiped out of Texas almost a century ago. Then, in the 1980s, they walked back in on their own, north out of Mexico. Texas Parks and Wildlife now confirms a breeding population in the Trans-Pecos, and sightings keep spreading east. It is hunting calories. It can smell food from more than a mile away, and it never forgets an address that fed it once. In Big Bend, bears have opened coolers, tents, and truck doors. Right now, the bear is still a visitor at the edge of the map. The next animal lives on the same map, and nobody knows how many there are. Number 14, the mountain lion. Same empty country, except this one leaves nothing behind. Texas has mountain lions in the Trans-Pecos and in the brush country of South Texas, with confirmed reports in the hill country. There has never been an official population count. The state lists them as non-protected non-game animals, and for decades there was not a single regulation on killing one, which means for decades nobody had to report anything. A mountain lion can jump 5 meters from a standstill. Ranch trail cameras catch them walking through open gates at 2 in the morning. Almost everyone who has been close to a mountain lion in Texas never knew it happened. These first 2 animals stay away from town. The next one comes into town on purpose, and it comes by the dozen. Number 13, the feral hog. Now the map moves inward to farm roads, county ditches, and the last street before the fields. Texas has an estimated 2.5 million feral hogs, more than any other state. A mature boar can pass 400 pounds and carries tusks that cut like a blade. They are not predators. They are a demolition crew. Texas A and M AgriLife puts hog damage to Texas agriculture at around $500 million every year. One group can strip a lawn down to bare dirt in a single night, digging for grubs and roots. Homeowners in San Antonio and Fort Worth film them crossing driveways 10 and 12 at a time. Cornered or protecting piglets, a hog charges instead of running. The hog comes for what we grow. The next animal comes for what we feed our pets. Number 12, the coyote. This is the first animal on the list that lives inside city limits by choice. Coyotes are present in all 254 Texas counties, from ranchland to downtown Dallas. The danger is not strength. It is habituation. A coyote that gets food from people stops reading people as a threat. It learns which yards leave a dog bowl outside. Attacks on pets are constant, and they happen on leashes, in fenced yards, in daylight. Urban wildlife officers in Dallas and Austin field thousands of coyote calls a year. And the coyote that follows a jogger at 50 meters is usually not stalking a human. It is escorting one away from a den. Coyotes are loud and visible. The next animal uses the same streets and is almost never seen. Number 11, the bobcat. Same neighborhood, same hour, no sound at all. Bobcats live in every region of Texas, including the suburbs of Houston, Austin, and Fort Worth. They den under storage sheds, inside storm drains, and in the brush at the end of a cul-de-sac. An adult weighs 20 to 30 pounds. That is twice a house cat, with 4 times the reach. Doorbell cameras across Texas catch them walking down sidewalks like residents. Attacks on people are extremely rare and usually involve a cornered or rabid animal. What they take constantly is chickens, rabbits, and small pets. You can share a fence with a bobcat for 5 years and never know it. Everything so far has arrived over dry ground. The next one arrives with the water. Number 10, the cottonmouth. From here, the list moves into places Texans actually use. Boat ramps, farm ponds, drainage ditches, flooded fields after a storm. The cottonmouth is a thick, dark pit viper that hunts in and beside water across east and central Texas. Its venom destroys tissue, so a serious bite can mean surgery, not just anti-venom. Cornered, it does something almost no other snake does. It holds its ground and gapes, showing the white lining of its mouth. And every major flood pushes them out of the bayous and into yards. After Hurricane Harvey, people across the Houston area were finding snakes in garages, on porches, and in swimming pools. A flood delivers the snake to the door. The next animal does not need a flood. It moves into the wall itself. Number 9, the Africanized honeybee. It is physically almost identical to a European honeybee. The difference only appears when the colony is disturbed. Africanized bees were first confirmed in Texas in Hidalgo County in 1990, and they now cover most of the southern half of the state. A European hive sends a few dozen defenders. An Africanized hive sends thousands. They stay agitated for hours and pursue for hundreds of meters. The venom itself is normal bee venom. The dose is what puts people in the hospital. And they do not nest in tidy white boxes. They nest in wall cavities, water meters, irrigation valves, and old tires. Texans have been swarmed while mowing a lawn or trimming a hedge. That is an animal we walk into. The next one swims where children swim. Number 8, the American alligator. Texas holds roughly 500,000 wild alligators, mostly along the upper coast and through East Texas. They are protected, they are patient, and they live in water that looks completely tame. Golf course ponds, city bayous, retention ponds behind new subdivisions, roadside canals. Houston has them inside the city limits. Beaumont has pulled them out of residential swimming pools. Over short distances on land, an alligator moves faster than most people expect. But the real mechanism here is us. An alligator that gets fed by humans loses its distance, and a fed alligator is the one that comes toward a dock. In 2015, in Orange, Texas, a man swam at night in Adams Bayou, passed a posted warning sign, and was killed by an alligator. That case sits exactly at the middle of this list. Everything above it stops waiting at the edge of the property. Up to this point, these animals still kept some distance from ordinary life. You had to walk down to the water, or open a gate, or drive out to the fields. From here on, they are inside the places people use every single day. Front doors, garages, closets, shoes, lawns. If you are still with me, subscribe, because the upper half covers the animals Texans are most likely to meet without ever looking for them. Number 7, the Texas coral snake. Red touches yellow. This is a small, glossy, shy snake found across East, Central, and South Texas. It spends most of its life under leaf litter, wood piles, garden hoses, and landscaping timber. Its venom works nothing like the vipers on this list. It attacks the nervous system, and the bite site often does not swell or blacken at all. That is exactly what makes it dangerous. A bitten person can feel almost fine for hours, and then start losing muscle control. Production of North American coral snake anti-venom stopped years ago, and the remaining stock is limited. The problem is where it chooses to hide. It hides in the same pile of wood and coiled hose that sits against the side of a house. The next animal hides in that same yard and bites far more Texans. Number 6, the copperhead. Copperheads cause more venomous snake bites in Texas than any other species. Not because the venom is strongest, it is camouflage and behavior. A copperhead does not flee. It freezes and trusts its pattern. That pattern is copper and tan hourglasses, and it disappears completely in dead leaves and shredded mulch. Almost every house in Texas has a mulch bed against the wall and a shaded strip beside the air conditioning unit. Most bites happen to a hand reaching into plants or a bare foot on a patio after dark. Nationally, the CDC counts 7,000 to 8,000 venomous snake bites a year, with about 5 deaths. So a copperhead bite is usually not a funeral. It is an ambulance, anti-venom, and a swollen limb for weeks. The next 3 animals do not need a yard at all. They are already indoors. Number 5, the brown recluse. Now we are inside the house. The recluse is a plain brown spider about the size of a coin, with long legs and a faint violin shape on its back. It lives in closets, attics, garages, and cardboard boxes across most of Texas. Almost every bite happens through pressure, when the spider is trapped between skin and fabric, which means clothes and shoes that sat in storage, and bedding pulled out of a box. The bite itself often feels like nothing at the time. Then the venom starts killing the tissue around it. Some wounds stay open for weeks and need surgical cleaning. This is the animal that waits inside the things we store. The next one waits inside the things we touch every day. Number 4, the black widow. Everybody in Texas knows the red hourglass. Almost nobody knows where she actually sits. Under patio furniture, inside a grill that has not been opened since spring, behind flower pots and meter boxes under the lip of a child's plastic slide. Drop for drop, black widow venom is far more potent than a rattlesnake's. The reason people survive is dose. She injects a tiny amount, and what follows is not tissue damage, but a neurotoxic reaction. Severe cramping through the abdomen and back, sweating, high blood pressure, sometimes for days. Deaths are very rare, and anti-venom exists. The scene is always identical, a hand going somewhere it cannot see. A spider still needs you to reach for it. The next animal comes to you, in the dark, across the floor. Number 3, the striped bark scorpion. This is the scorpion of Texas, recorded in nearly every county. In the far west, around El Paso, the more dangerous Arizona bark scorpion reaches into the state as well. Scorpions come inside through door gaps, weep holes, and drains, especially in summer heat and after rain. They are flat, they climb, and they hide in exactly the wrong places. Shoes, folded towels, a bed sheet. Under ultraviolet light, a wall that looked empty can suddenly glow. The sting is rarely life-threatening, but it feels like an electric shock that keeps firing, sometimes for hours, and the location is nearly always the same: barefoot inside your own house at night. The next animal is not even inside. It is under your feet, outdoors, and there are billions of them. Number 2, the red imported fire ant. This is the animal Texans stopped noticing, which is exactly why it sits this high. Fire ants arrived from South America and now cover the eastern 2/3 of the state. A single mound can hold 250,000 ants. They grip with their jaws and sting repeatedly, and the whole mound reacts as one animal. Texas A&M has put fire ant damage and control costs in Texas above $1 billion a year. For a small percentage, it is anaphylaxis, and Texas has recorded deaths, including in nursing homes and in open fields. The mounds are in schoolyards, soccer fields, parks, and the strip of grass beside a mailbox. Nothing on this list is easier to step on, but one animal in Texas has done something worse. It moved into the last 2 meters before your door. Number 1, the western diamondback rattlesnake. Go back to that front yard, the mulch bed, the porch light, the bikes on warm concrete. The western diamondback is the most dangerous snake in Texas and the hardest one to keep out of ordinary life. It grows past 2 meters and carries a large volume of tissue, destroying venom. And here's the part people get wrong. It does not always rattle first. A diamondback that feels exposed will often stay silent and completely still. In spring, dozens can emerge from one den in a rocky field, which is why towns like Sweetwater have held rattlesnake roundups for decades. It is drawn to exactly what a house provides: shade, rodents, water, and concrete that holds heat long after sunset. Diamondbacks turn up in garages, under parked cars, inside engine bays, and coiled on doormats. That is the animal that ends this list, not because it is the deadliest thing in Texas, because it is the one already standing on the property line. So here is what Texas actually is: not a wilderness with a city in the middle of it. A city built into a habitat that never agreed to move. The bear needed a mountain. The lion needed a canyon. The hog needed a field. The rattlesnake needed a warm slab of concrete and something small to eat. We built the perfect version of that on every street, and then we stopped looking at the ground. Fear is useless here. Attention is not. Turn on the porch light tonight and look down before you step out. And if you think Texas is close to home, the next place changes the rules again. Watch the next state on screen now. New place, new predators, every week.